and this has been taught to me by some of my biggest mentors, okay? Like Dan Kennedy and loads of other people across my, 15 years of personal development now in some way, shape, or form. So they're going to tie back to chiropractic, but some business concepts here. And then what I'm going to try to do for you is you're going to see how I do a lot of you're going to see what I do a lot. I try to do a lot of what I'm about to say here in my own business. And you're going to be like, now I know why he sees it. So I'm going to give you my secret. So I've often said that the reason that when people come to me for help and they say, hey Ryan, I'm really struggling to sell, let's say 12 care plan or 24 care plan. And the easiest way I can explain to people is just from a business perspective, you've got loads of other things happen before that. We spoke about having authority and positioning before they come in. Okay, and then there's like heart and credibility and certainty that people can feel. And then there's good business principles. And a lot of times when people say to me, I'm struggling to sell or get someone to agree to 24 visit care plan, the quickest way I can help them is saying the problem is that you're trying to sell a 24 care plan. You should be trying to sell or position just not this number, I'm just making an example, you'll see it makes sense now, a 72 visit care plan. Because the concept, many of you have heard me say this before, don't shout out now, but how do you sell a $5,000 watch? Put it next to a $10,000 watch or a $100,000 watch. Because is £5,000 expensive for a watch? Yes. Are there watches that sell for £100,000? Yes. Is 5,000 cheaper and more affordable than 100,000? Yes. But there is research behind this, okay? And it's called anchoring and pre-framing, okay? So the first thing I want to teach you is, and CH, you can do this at the front desk. So two things we're trying to anchor is how long it'll take to heal and frequency of visits. Okay, so those are the two things. How long it'll take, so time, healing time, and frequency of visits. Okay, I've seen this done in many ways, but maybe we go through the research. So anchoring bias is a cognitive bias where people rely too heavily on the first piece of information or anchor. So when we feed the brain a first piece of information, okay, or anchor, the brain then makes decisions, uses that as a reference point to make decisions, okay, to make a reference point. So key point, a first piece of information they receive when making decisions, even if the first piece of information is irrelevant. So anchoring effect in pricing. In one study, people were willing to spend more on dinner at a restaurant named Studio 97 versus Studio 17. Okay, simply because it's a higher, okay, next study. So in another study, participants offered more money for Belgium chocolates after writing higher digits from their security. The only correlation was if their social security numbers were bigger numbers, they would then offer more for the chocolates. They were asked to write down their social security numbers first, and the people that had the highest numbers, social security numbers, would then give more, do that first, would give more. Okay, next is number framing. Individuals scored work performance higher when the task was labeled experiment 27 versus experiment 9. So if you're going, hey, what's this experience like? Name it on a 1 to 10, how great was this experience? And this is it's experiment number 27. They would statistically relevant higher levels would go after they were first fed the key piece of information I want you to see is experiment 27 affects whether they scored their experience higher or lower. Okay, perceived performance, athletic performance. Observers rated higher scores, or they rated higher if they had a higher number on their jersey. So if you said, hey, who's the better rugby player? And you said, just making this up now, there's a number on the back is 55 and this one's number 2. Statistically, most people would say, person with 55 on their back was a better rugby player. Okay, there's no 55 in rugby, but statistically. So other examples of giving information first. Students were asked to draw long lines and some were asked to draw short lines. Then they were asked to estimate the Mississippi River. The people that drew long lines estimated that the Mississippi River was longer. Okay, so where's this coming in a moment? Well, last one, does music effective? In wine shops, if they put German music on, they bought more. If they put French music on, they bought more French wines, okay? So my question, first of all, write this down, everything matters. When Brett had his session, I understand the space. I made sure there was AV, the music, the right music. When you walked in, there was a smell that was important to the experience. The lights had to be right. Everything matters. So how does this translate into your practice? It's simple sentences like, when you're going through the recommendations, what most chiropractors do is, hey, so there's two ways to do this thing. There is easy, and then after easy conversation, this is the easiest conversation you can have. Let's get you adjusted today and see how we all know how it goes, badly. The next session is, everyone say hard. The session after that is, eventually hell. Because it's like you have to sell every session. But when you tell the truth, which is, does healing take time? Yes. So when we tell the truth, okay, the truth is healing takes time. Use whatever reference you need, whether that's Guyton and Hall textbook of physiology that says soft tissue injury can take up to 18 months. When you feed that to a human being, what becomes the anchor? 18 months. Now, you have a bit more permission, whatever you recommend after that. We just need to see these conditions can't, or I've worked with people that have taken up to. Now you've got to say the thing that's congruent for you, and if you need research to back you up, you need research to back you up. But then it's there. I promise you the research is there. If it's clinical experience, you can talk about Mary that took 6 months to get better from this. Now, the next conversation, now that's their reference point, their anchor. Now, when you say, the good news for you is we don't need to see you for 18 months. We're going to you can say, just get you started on, and then you can say your recommendations, which are going to seem significantly lower or less, and key point than the truth. Okay, key point than the truth. You guys with me, yes? Now that's what they mean when they feed a piece of information to the brain first, and then compare to that. Now, why I believe most people don't go with the truth first is because there's a bit of tension that builds in the room. You with me? So when you say, hey, most of our patients are desperately wanting us to say that we can fix them yesterday. You guys with me, yes? So that when you say things like, hey, the research shows us that it may take between 12 and 18 months for soft tissue injuries or nervous system or whatever you want to say for your context to heal. That is an anchor. And within them, do you think there might be a bit of tension building within them? Please write this down. Sales requires tension. This sale requires tension. Okay? This sale requires tension. And by tension, it really can be throwaway comments that you're building, but you now understand that a human being, that's how a human being is framed. There's a disproportionate amount of weight given to the information you give to them first. So CAs, when you're having a conversation about these things, there's a reason that people have 100 club boards. So they might be looking at the 100 club boards, and it's like, wow, people get adjusted 100 times. Internally, they may be going, it's fucking not going to be me. But compared to 100, is 24 sessions more manageable. So everything matters. Don't be afraid of testimonials that also set up that anchor. Things like, when I first came here, I was really skeptical. I couldn't believe it when Doc said I had to come for 3 months. I never thought that'd be the case. Most people take those things out. It was like, people are not going to come in. But that forms, but boy, I'm glad I did, because today I had this and this and this. So everything matters. Even your testimonials will feed the customer prior, can set up this anchor of how healing takes time. That's our point number one. Now, there's many ways you can bring this into your business. I'm going to bring it now. In your workshops, your orientation classes, beautiful examples of like how people heal. I think everyone should be drawing. I'm going to do it for you guys quickly. Do you guys want the simplest orientation workshop in the world? Hey everyone, what's that? Camel. Some people use it like a chicken and a cow, and the worse I make it, the better. Now when you do it, you're going to be like, wow, that bald saffron guy actually knows what he's talking about, because everyone's going to laugh, just like you did, okay? And everyone's going to say some weird thing. And then you're going to go, what are those? What are those, guys? So has everyone heard about the parable of the straw that broke the camel's back? Awesome. So it's much like chiropractic. When you come in here, sometimes what happens is, there's a saying, pain is often the last thing to appear and the first thing to disappear. So what can happen then, when you come in here, you've had the problem for years, but we haven't had any pain yet. So let me ask you a question. Can you have heart disease and not have pain? What's the first sign in most people of heart disease? Heart attack. If you'd asked them the day before if they feel healthy, what would they have said? Yes. So they were just about to have the biggest healing crisis of their life. Yet, if you asked them how they felt, they would have said, feel great. Okay? I feel great. People can have stage 4 cancer and have zero. You guys with me, yes? So pain is a bad indicator of our health. Then what happens is, you've had the problem for many years, you maybe just had this straw here that came on. This straw here came on. And then you felt, I don't feel so good. And you go see the chiropractor. And often when we get you adjusted, sometimes just one adjustment or 2 adjustments, we can remove the first straw. And sometimes, but not always, the pain can disappear. But let me ask you a question. Is the problem still there? The simplest, most easy diagram for you to explain that the problem takes, yes, but so does the solution, even if you're feeling okay. Is that a cool story for you guys to bring into your workshops? Now you get an anchor. Now CAs, can you say that? Okay. Of course you can. You can say pain is often the last thing to appear and often the first thing to. So when they walk out of the room and they had 2 adjustments and they go, oh my goodness, Dr. Mons, she adjusted me and everything's gone. You can go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Remember, pain's often the first thing to, I'm so glad the pain's gone, but like the camel's straw that broke the camel's back that we educated in the workshop, you remember, it can still, the problem can be there. So really excited to see. A great line is, if you feel great today, imagine how you're going to feel in 6 months' time.